first want to thank Pete for just sending the invitation to share about India. When he sent the email, I responded like 30 seconds after he sent it. Because I was just really excited to share a story. So I'm going to be quick. I think Anaya and Emily will talk longer than me. But there's one experience that I want to share. So when we, if you guys ever, I hope you guys get to travel one day and get to see India. And if you guys do, India is a place. You can just describe it like a sensory overload. Just the smells and the noises and the sights that you see. It's just there's so much going on, and it kind of seems like you have no idea what's going on. At least that it was like that for me. We'd get on a bus and I'd have no idea where we're going in the bus or what we're doing. And there was one day we got on the bus and we were in the city of Pune, and we drove to kind of a rural part just outside the city of Pune called Ketagaon. And so we had breakfast and we kind of talked, but I had no idea what's going on. And so we drive about like 45 minutes outside Pune, and we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and we're on a highway, and then just in the middle of the highway, we just kind of pull off to the side, and I kind of look out the window and I see a sign that says Pandita Ramabai Mukti Mission, and so what I want to share is about Pandita Ramabai, and Pete mentioned salt and light, and she really was a very salty person. Her legacy and her legacy has a lot of light, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna read. This is a book I got at Mukti Mission, and these pages are kind of just, it will give you guys like a kind of overview of who she was. So she was born in 1858 and she died in 1922, and she was the very first feminist of India. So Pandita Ramabai, she was the first woman to be awarded the title of Pandita, and it's because of her fluency in Sanskrit, and she memorized over 18,000 stanzas in different like Hindu scriptures. So she introduced to India the kindergarten method of teaching, which she learned when she traveled to the United States. She was the first to start a special school for the visually challenged, where they were taught to read and write in Braille. She was the first to translate American textbooks into Marathi, which I think was the kind of like the dialect of Ketagaon. And she was the first woman social reformer to work to uplift women's social status by giving them education and by widow remarriage, as well as by education of little girls. Kind of before her, women in India had no privileges whatsoever. They were very underprivileged, and educating a woman kind of before 20th century, it was like unheard of. But she was kind of the first person to introduce like kindergarten, for little girls, which was very revolutionary. Continuing. So she introduced vocational education, and this was the first to educate and employ women. She represented the women's case, cause, and need for training women to be doctors. She was the first to launch an interdenominational association, and being the foremost interdenominational effort in Christianity. She was the first Indian woman to be awarded the Kaiser Hind Medal for Community Service. She was the first woman to address the Indian National Congress on women's issues, and she was the first Indian to mobilize funds abroad for a charitable cause. She was the first to start a women's society, and she was the first woman Bible translator in the world. She translated the Bible into Braille and Marathi, and I think she knew over like 15 languages too. She was the first to start the ashram movement for women. And she was the first known woman who wrote and lectured to make a living. And she was the first to suggest Hindi as the national language of India. So she was the first of a lot of things, and kind of gives you guys an idea of her. So she started a thing called the Mukti Mission, and this is what Emily and I went to with Dr. Boaz and Tony from Human and other people that went. I'm sure you guys know of them. So the Mukti mission was the very first ever ashram for women, which is like a community that takes in child widows, poor and orphan girls, destitute women, family victims, reforming and just changing their lives so they can, go back to society and make a difference. So what happened at Mukti Mission for me personally? This is like my first time sharing this. So when we got to Mukti Mission, there was a guy who was there, and we first went to Pandita Ramabai's room, where she died, and the room was kind of like a museum, and it was kept how it was when she was alive, and we saw the table where she translated the Bible, and so that was when we got the first introduction of her, and they gave the overview of her life, and then so right after that, we were taken to a room. We saw the school, the Mukti Mission, and all the children, and we were told most of them were orphans, and then we were brought to a classroom, and it was about a classroom of girls, and they were just in the middle of the class, and we all walked in, and as we walked in, there was this one girl who kind of stood up right away, right when we walked in, and kind of all came in, and then they started clapping and singing, and the girl who stood up, she started singing, and when she sung, kind of caught me off guard, because she was singing very loud, and very confident. She had a lot of confidence in her voice, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful in her singing, and it was just like, like you hear the voice singing, and it just like totally like sweeps you off your feet. That's what happened to me. And they finished the song, and she sat down, and she had just the biggest smile on her face, like from ear to ear, because we were clapping for her. But it wasn't until she sat down and was smiling that I realized that this little girl, I mean, she was probably 9 years old, and she was blind. And I had no idea when she was standing and singing, and it just really moved me. And then so what happened next? We went to another room. There was about 20 elderly ladies, middle-aged ladies, who were weaving straw baskets, and they were all blind. And we went inside, and kind of our leader for the trip was a guy named Akshay, and he was like multi-talented. He could do everything, a musician, pastor. But he pulled out like a harmonium, which is like an Indian piano accordion, and he started playing the harmonium. And in this room, all these blind women started to clap and sing, and really just praising the Lord. And I was just brought to tears, just how beautiful it was. Like the way I can describe it, like emotionally, I just felt like I was drinking out of a fire hose. It was just so much authenticity and passion from these blind ladies, just harmonium and clapping and singing and weaving baskets, and I got up and left the room just because of how moved I was, but I will never forget those ladies and just their faces and their smiles, praising God, and it's all because of Pandita Ramabai. I mean, this is her legacy, and this Mukti Mission is what she created. And I'll leave you guys with a quote from her. So she says that a life that is totally committed to God has nothing to fear, nothing to lose, and nothing to regret.